Hey everyone, this is Sarah Gambles. We're going to talk with Letters by Shelly Kim, in a couple minutes. So we're going to talk about her book. She has this digital hand lettering book. It's really awesome, showing how you can use an iPad. And we'll just kind of get to know her. She'll share her story. So let's see if she's on. While we're waiting, you can start asking questions if you already knew this was happening.
I'm super excited to
Yeah.
see you and see you not in person, but see you through Instagram Live and just put like a name to a face. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Thank you for having me.
Exactly. I know we're so excited, and people are loving your video that we posted. So
Ah,
I feel have lots of
aw.
questions.
Yeah, I did notice that there was some interest in it, so I decided to do that as a project today. So hopefully y'all
Good
are
idea.
interested with the name tags and things like that.
Yeah, awesome. So I guess we can start out. Just tell us about yourself, where you're
Yeah.
from, and kind of how you got started.
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone. I'm super excited that you're all here. Thank you so much for just making time out of your day to join us on Instagram Live. Well, I'm Shelly. I'm also known as Letters by Shells. That is my business name. But I started back in 2015. So it was only 5 years ago when I started this whole like new hobby. I was stressed out at my full-time insurance job, and I basically wanted a creative outlet. And during that time, I just thought about work so much. So what I needed to do, like at that time, I started looking up like positive affirmations to help myself just, I guess, disconnect and think about other things in life that made me happy. And that's kind of how I came across like calligraphy and topography. And I just thought, how beautiful is this art form that I can try to learn it myself so I can write my own positive messages to decorate my cubicle. So that was like the main reason why I started. I wanted to just put like positive messages all over my work desk. And then I never knew that it was going to turn into something even more magical than I thought, or like than I could imagine, because I just started it as a hobby and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with this so much. I was like, I want to go find other things in life that makes me happy. My fiance was the one that encouraged me to leave my job and basically do other things in life that could create that happiness and joy. So I ended up, after like a few years exploring this craft, I ended up pursuing it full time because I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was amazed that people were just loving it, the work that I put out on social media. So yeah, I did it even though it was like such a scary thing, but I'm glad that I did it because it changed my whole perspective on life, made me much happier. So I think that was kind of a long intro, but I'm also based in Southern California. So I'm also based in the LA area. So yeah, that's
That's
all
amazing.
about
So
me.
how long ago you started lettering, and then so how long did it take you to go from like kind of starting it and then to making it into your full-time thing?
Yeah, it probably took a good transition, like 2 to 2.5 years. I really wanted to understand what I was doing at the time. And so what ended up happening, a year after discovering it, I left my job. And then during that time, I was trying to figure this whole art thing out. But, like I was nervous too. I was also like not sure exactly what was going to happen. So
Mhm.
I used that time to explore my own creativity, but also explore what other things in life that I could, I guess, do at this time. So I ended up getting my master's in college counseling during that time as well. So then I guess like everything, like it was kind of like odd how everything worked out. I basically went back to school to get my master's, and then the minute I started my grad program, everything within Letters by Shells took off. Like I got a lot of great opportunities and deals, and I just couldn't imagine. Like I didn't understand how they were all happening all at once, but I made it work for the 2 years. And then after I finished my grad program, I had to decide which one I did I want to do. Did I want to do like my counseling career, or did I want to pursue hand lettering? And the only reason why I had to decide is just because I can't do both. Like I realized how much I was not, I guess like I was only sleeping maybe like 2 3 hours a day during the whole 2 years. So I was like, this is not something that I can imagine. You know what, I'll go ahead and decide on what to do. So then I chose hand lettering to do it after my grad program was over. And then I wanted to give myself like a year to see like what would happen with that. But yeah, it's been like I finished my program in 2018, so it's been about like 2 years now that I haven't really, not that I haven't looked back, it's just that there was so much happening within Letters by Shells that I just decided to stay because it truly did make me happy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. It's kind
Yeah.
of a more scary like risk, but worth
Yeah, no,
it.
totally. Like it was such a scary risk and I don't regret any experiences. Like it all taught me, such valuable things that I never would have experienced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
totally.
that was my whole journey about why I decided to do what I did. And because my whole like focus on starting hand lettering was to promote positivity and joy to my own life. And that's the reason why I decided to carry that message on within my art journey.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. So how did you get started with your book? I have it.
I know.
I love it.
Okay, so no, thank you. Thank you so much about my book too. It was a really crazy transition after like I worked with that same publisher before to make like flashcards. We have flashcards of modern calligraphy and Art Deco topography style. And then after my grad program was over, I decided to do hand lettering full time. And then maybe a month after, I got the deal for my book from the same publisher. And I was just like really confused just because I'm like, how does this all work out just magically? This is like not possible. This is like not a normal thing. And I had to think hard about it because after my grad program, I did make a decision to focus on myself, but also travel to some places around just the world. And taking on that book deal was something that I would have to kind of like decide as well. I thought it would be a really good thing to travel and write this book. It was actually a really bad idea because writing this book was just so hard. It was probably one of the most hardest things to do just because there were so many revisions that happened, but also all these deadlines that I procrastinate a lot. So but then I mean that whole experience was its own journey just because I didn't understand what I was capable of and I was able to like see the discipline and just like all my hard work poured into this book just because there were some things that I had to like fight for to be in there in terms of like certain like sections and chapters that I wanted to cover. So
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, that's kind of how I got the book opportunity. It wasn't like it's not like I pitched myself, which I was hoping to do that, but then it was just not within like I guess if I didn't get this deal, I probably wouldn't have started pitching myself maybe to like 5 years from now because it's something that was a cool idea, but it's not something that was. I just don't know if I was ready for that yet.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time commitment.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. But then with the whole book thing, I mean, like I got to add all my projects that I do enjoy and love doing as well. So then I was so excited to like add the silhouette project in there and just like how to like use vinyls and how to DIY and personalize all your fun items.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So how did you get introduced to silhouette?
Okay. So I kept seeing it on Instagram and I basically like had to go back and forth because then I probably discovered my Cameo machine maybe like a year after I started hand lettering. But then I kept thinking, okay, like for me, like the cost of it was on the pricier side just because like I just left my job and I wasn't sure how to like put my energy towards a new program because the thing is I buy new like I buy new things, but I don't always get to like touch them and like explore them and I probably wouldn't have figured it out. So then when I saw this the silhouette Cameo, I was like, wow, I can cut like paper and like my own like vinyl cuts into my lettering and how beautiful would that be. So then I kept thinking, okay, well I guess I was telling myself when I'm ready maybe I'll finally like not ready but like when I'm better at my hand lettering I'll gift it to myself. But then my fiance, he's just so amazing, he believes in me so much. After I told him I wanted it, I talked about it for months not thinking that he was gonna go get it for me or anything. I just kept saying how like lucky would I be to have this machine to like write my own hand lettering. I can make stickers for you. Like I was just like exciting but within that he kind of like took away, you know what, I should just buy this machine for her. So he bought it for my birthday and I was so excited. And when he bought it I was like freaked out too. I was like, how do I figure this out? Oh my god, can you help me? But I think it was just I basically wanted to like personalize my own things. Just growing up, my name's Shelly, it's a common name but it's not on anything. Like if you go look at keychains or go look at like magnets, it's not, I can't find my name. So then I thought about if I learned hand lettering, how nice would it be to personalize all the things that would say my name. So that was like also the one of the main reasons why I wanted to get the silhouette. Honestly, I just saw it online and I dreamed about it for a long time.
That's a great gift. Thoughtful
I
fiance.
was so excited. Yeah, he bought the whole package with the vinyl and everything. He did his research, and I was just, I was excited exploring it. I was like, I remember the first vinyl cut that I made. I was like, look at this! How fun is this? Yeah, I thought it was magical. I mean, before the Cameo machine, I thought people were cutting it out with scissors. And I sat there and thought about how can I do this myself? Maybe like if I outline it. But it saves so much time just because my lettering is so small, and how can I cut everything like that? But
right, totally.
yeah.
So what would you say, do you have any like tips or tricks to learning the machine or the software for like activities?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I had to like understand was kind of like understanding the vinyl type. Like there are different types of vinyls. There is like thinner vinyls, but also really thick vinyls, and that's kind of like how you'd kind of have to like understand in terms of like your cut setting. So I was gonna see if I can talk about that today, just like based on like the vinyl that I use, so that way it would kind of be like a really great learning point. Just because when I first did it, I know that I don't know, like the packaging says what cut you should put it on, but I decided not to read it, and I was trying to do it myself. It just, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like it's all there available, especially like with the vinyls that you carry. It has all of the settings that are required, but I think for me, like it was a point that I didn't understand, and then I also didn't understand. Like I mean, like when I learn new programs, it takes me a while for me to figure it out. I didn't understand like the board that you see on the program itself, like match the same board that you have. For the longest time, I was not matching the board dimensions, and I was always thinking, why is it not cutting properly? What am I doing?
Yeah, there's just so much to learn at once.
Right.
So yeah, those things that you think are like obvious now, like looking back, you're like, oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that was like one of like the hardest adjustments was just like understanding like the settings itself for the vinyl, just because like every vinyl is different. Like some of them can be really, really thin, and sometimes like I would overcut them, but then also understanding, I think just like placing the mat the correct way, because then I noticed for myself I love using the mat with the vinyls just because with my hand lettering it's very loopy and it has lots of curves, so
small too.
Yeah, and it stays really nicely on the mat.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like the bigger vinyl things are easy to do with the roll, but the smaller totally.
Yeah, and those are just like little things that I had to kind of like experiment with, but then also now understanding how to like put vinyl on some surfaces. Like some surfaces just could be like more of a challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. So would you want to actually show us how to make something?
Yeah, I hope you're all ready for some fun projects. So I decided I was gonna hand letter on paper, but then I would need my phone to take the photo and like bring into silhouette. So I'm just gonna use my iPad. I hope that's okay. Again, like you don't need an iPad to make a vinyl. Just wanted to clarify that. It just would make this process a little bit easier. Yeah. Awesome. So I'll go ahead and bring my phone over. So give me 1 second. Within this, I'm using the Procreate app just because it helps myself just like hand letter a lot easier. So within this, I'm gonna go ahead and basically use so like for me, I use my own calligraphy brushes that I made just because I'd like to experiment and see what works best for me. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna write the word love. Or is there like a request? Do you want something?
Hurry and make a request.
Okay, the first word, hopefully, but don't make it too long.
Yeah, they're like, it's like a
oh my goodness, I don't see anything.
Someone's name.
Hope. Okay, I saw the first one. Okay, so let's go ahead and write Hope. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my pressures. Just like calligraphy, the upstrokes are gonna be thin, downstrokes are gonna be thick, and this is just my style of hand lettering that I've just been able to just like kind of like see how I like doing it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it talks about all those like in my book too. So if you guys are interested. So with this, okay, I'm okay with it. So there's two different variations. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about this one, the one that you posted. Oftentimes people also ask me like, how did I do the background? So I was thinking about doing it like this, so that way you can kind of like see. So one example would be if I did not want this like wash background, I would just cut it like this and that's it. And then basically I would have that and then place it on top of the vinyl.
Okay.
But then if I wanted to have that wash background, I would actually go to my settings. And honestly, you can make this on any software program as well. It's just a little bit easier for me to like use one of their brush settings. So on Procreate, I'll go ahead and use, it's in the painting folder. I will look for like something like oil paint or like acrylic. I'll try what acrylic. So the goal is just to kind of like cover the whole thing with this. So I'll go ahead and use a different color just so you can see it. I'm going to make my brush bigger. So basically the goal is just to like cover the entire text of how you see it. And then what I'll do is that I'll go back to my layers and duplicate this so that way it becomes more of like a solid color. And again, you can use this on any platform as well. So within that, I'll go ahead and I'll bring up this hope layer on top and just kind of like see how I want to match it. I'm going to actually resize the word hope so that way it's a little bit, it fits more inside of this wash.
Right.
I'm going to actually also rewrite it. So I'm going to use another color. So that way I'm going to try to like stretch it out a little bit more. And then go back to my brushes. So I think like a lot of it too, like it could be just like a trial and error run, just kind of like figuring out like how exactly do you want this to like fit inside of the wash.
Right.
So basically this is exactly what I'm going to be cutting.
Pretty.
Yay. So then also with that, after you're okay with it, typically because I'm using Procreate, it's just a little bit easier for me just to like send everything over. I thought about also holding my phone to like show the computer. But what I'll do is basically I'm going to airdrop this draft to my computer. And I'm just airdropping just because I'm using a Mac as well.
Yeah.
My airdrop isn't working. Give me 1 second.
Of course.
I know, right? Okay, I'll put it back on me. Just
I like someone says, I love seeing the trial and error. Makes me feel better about messing up.
oh, trust me, I mess up so much. There are so many. I mean, like for the videos when I post on Instagram, of course they look really seamless, but there's lots of vinyls that I either like I rip too fast and then everything just gets torn. I'm like, oh no. Yeah. But give me 1 second. Let me try to figure out my airdrop. I don't know what's happening, but are there any questions that I can answer during this time?
Someone says, do you sell your brushes for Procreate?
I do. Yeah, I do. Just because I thought it was such a good way just to like experiment and just like learn for myself. So it's on my Etsy shop, lettersbyshells.etsy.com. And you'll just have like bunch of like Procreate brushes that I recommend for like hand lettering designs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can review the questions, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no worries. I mean, I guess I have a question. What's your favorite thing to make? Or do you have a favorite?
Favorite thing? So it'll probably be like, I don't think I can talk about it today, but no, I think it's exciting to learn how to like experiment with vinyl. Like I feel like there's so many different like things that you can do with vinyl itself. So one thing that I wanted to really learn, and I was able to like figure that out a couple years back, was layering vinyl. Basically how to layer vinyl on top of each other vinyls too.
Right.
Yeah. I think it just kind of creates like a really unique, and I mean, the whole idea behind it is just like if you want to add shadow with your lettering itself or your designs, or just like adding more colors with the vinyl. I think the reason why I wanted to experiment with that was because my fiance wanted a vinyl cut, but it had multiple colors. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't think it's possible. And then I was like, maybe I can cut the individual pieces and we can like piece it all together. But then I realized you can just like start layering vinyl on top of each other. Cause I started like researching vinyl itself, like the things that he was maybe like hoping to get from me. And I just realized that other people like layer vinyl on top of each other. So that was something I wanted to figure out for myself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
what was your first project you made with your Cameo? If you can remember.
remember. Oh, I'm trying to think. Honestly, it must have been a hand lettering thing. That's like the only thing that I can kind of justify what I would do with it, just because the whole goal was to personalize thing. But like I was trying to remember what word it was. Was it my name? I don't think so. I think it was just like hello or love. Yeah, I have to like scroll back on my Instagram to see what was the first project. I don't know if I ever posted it, but yeah.
That's awesome.
No, thank you. Okay, so it finally works. Because I airdropped it, the goal is to like now bring in this artwork to the artboard. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drag it in there like that. And let me go ahead and zoom into it just to kind of see, make sure my screen's dirty. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's all good. We can see perfectly.
Okay, good. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and use one of the functions, which is the trace window. So I'll go ahead and just tap on that and tap on select trace area. And basically the goal is just to like highlight what exactly you want to cut. And then I like to turn off the high pass filter off. So that way the entire thing just gets selected a little bit more easily, and then I'll go ahead and hit trace. So now that if you'll see, I'm going to zoom in again. So now that you should see like a red outline. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the background and just delete that, and you'll see that the lettering and everything is all cut. Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, so I think with this is just like kind of figuring out, okay, like the dimensions and things of your cut that you want to do. I can go ahead and show you just kind of like my process of doing it. I'll go ahead and you usually get like the surfaces that I want to put the vinyl on, and then I'll go ahead and get my ruler and see exactly, okay, like what are the dimensions that I need to kind of like cut this and kind of getting that area. So with these acrylics, it's usually about like 3.5 inches. So my goal is to kind of make it in between 3 inches, not kind of making it like fill the entire section.
Yeah.
So that way it's easier for myself, and just kind of like the same exact way for doing this as well. So if there is more time, or actually I think there is time, right? Actually, I'll go ahead and do 2 vinyl cuts. I'm going to go ahead and tap on my artwork and basically just 2-finger double click and release compound to it, because what I want to do is this. My goal is to highlight this area, just because one thing I didn't get to mention to you, the design that I do with like the wash background, it does create like just like extra pixels. I'm going to actually release the compound and just highlight the top, and then my lettering itself, just copy that, Command C, and then just highlight the entire section and just hit delete. When I first did that, I didn't do that. I went in there and selected every dot to delete. And that just, again, like I find things to do that are harder for me sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and resize this to about, since the acrylic was about 3.5 inches, let's size it down to about like 2.9. But my whole goal, because of my hand lettering being so small, I just have to make sure that these negative areas inside are big enough so that way it'll stay when I rip the vinyl. Yeah, so I think it looks good. So sometimes just to be on the safe side, I'll go ahead and make it like stretch it out a little bit more if I can, just so that way I think like the bigger it does work the best. And I'll go ahead and zoom in just to make sure I don't have any of like the dots that I saw earlier do. So for this project, I'll go ahead and cut 2 vinyl. So I'll cut it with the wash background, and then I'll highlight this and then do it again on, just so that way you can see it, so that if you wanted me to like put it on this surface without the wash background. And then with that one, I think it's safe to make it a little bit bigger. Let me just double check. I think 3 inches might be kind of big, but I think it works.
Yes. Someone asked, will this be on your highlights? We'll save this to our highlights. So you can, someone says they just joined, so they missed the beginning.
Oh, yeah. So no, of course.
We'll save it. You can watch it. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, good. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and highlight the entire thing and just basically do make compound path again happen, so that way they're not just individual pieces, just like they're all just like they're all grouped together basically.
Right.
Yay. So now with that, I think we are ready to cut the vinyl. Before we talk about the dimensions. So this is kind of like the confusing part that I didn't understand for a long time. So when you have the vinyl in the Silhouette program, I like to do cut edge, so that way everything will just be cut properly. And then I'm going to go ahead and just find a vinyl, just like use Silhouette brand. And then I'll go ahead and scroll down. I mean, I don't really know like if these are all right, but I like to have it at 3 for the blade, and then I'll choose automatic blade. So for my hand lettering, because the fact that it has so many loops in here and there's just like more components that could maybe go wrong, for my speed I do put it at 1, just because I want to just make sure that it takes time just to like cut every inch and piece possible, because like I tried doing it fast and I think it's fine, but I think I got nervous a few times. So I don't want to recut it again. So I'll put speed 1, and then my thickness for this vinyl is going to be about 7. I'm using this like gold matte vinyl, but for the most part, it's like the same thickness that I would like find with like the Silhouette brand and things like that. And then I think we're all set. So make sure that your cut settings, cut edge is on, vinyl Silhouette brand is selected, and your blade is on 3, automatic blade, speed is 1, thickness is 7. I'll go ahead and show you all how I would cut my vinyl pieces. I think just because it makes it easier for myself, because on the what I'm using right now, it looks like it's going to be about like 3.5 inches on the board. So this is the cutting mat that I'll be using for that. So I'll go ahead and kind of like match exactly how it looks on the screen that I save. So I'm going to use this blade just to make it easier for myself to like cut a really straight line. And I'm just going to use like this type of vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 3.5. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this around 3 inches. Just like give yourself some like extra space just in case. Then I'll put my vinyls away. So with that, let's go ahead, bring it over to the cutting mat. Mine's like really dirty, okay?
Lots of use. It's good.
I know. So I'll go ahead and match my vinyl. Just like go ahead and like place it on top of this mat itself, just so that way it kind of just matches. And I just like to double check within the screen. So what I mean by screen is that this makes sense and this matches what I see on the screen. So now with that, the fun part, which is this machine right here, I'll go ahead and lift this. And so I'll go ahead and basically place my vinyl. Or my cutting mat, I'll go ahead and just kind of match exactly the line that's provided right here. I'm doing this with one hand, so that's the reason why I'm like...
That's impressive.
Doing like, so hopefully it stays. So then once you place it how you want to match it, go ahead and go to the screen and hit load. And just make sure it goes in straight. Okay, awesome. Once you know it's ready, you'll just say ready and just hit start. And this is where all the magic will basically happen. It will just start cutting your vinyl in the most magical way ever. Yeah, cut the parts there.
It is crazy.
Yay! So I'll go ahead and wait for that to create. Hopefully you can still hear me. I know it's kind of loud.
So I have been listening to your podcast too.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. I liked the one that you just had about like social media comparison.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went back and I was looking at your post where you got 300,000 followers. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, podcast comes out.
The podcast, so Emma and I, so my podcast host is Black Chalk Co. That's her business name. It was kind of interesting. So I went to go visit Australia during the time that I mentioned I wanted to go travel the world. I went to go to Australia, knew Emma was based out there, and I just like to meet other lettering friends. And I was like, let's just meet. That'll be like so fun. And when we met, there was just so many great connections that we developed just because we were on the same boat when it came to like business and figuring it all out. Like for me, I don't have a business background. I studied psychology, and doing this was just a crazy journey that I never thought was possible. But there was lots of questions that I wish I knew. And like Emma, she does have a business background. She just knew a little bit more. And I think we just connected in that way just because we were able to like share our own experiences and what we've learned and be each other's support system. So during that trip with Australia, we realized that we were kind of like in a similar position where we like, pursue this full time and just doing the best that we can just to figure it all out. After we met up, we like stayed connected and like we did like Zoom chats and like all that fun stuff. And we realized how much more relatable and like what similarities we did have as well. And that's why we decided, like how awesome would it be to like share our own experiences in the most like unique way. I guess our goal was to like not show only the good side, but to show like every side possible when it comes to running a business and like the insecurities that we face as well. And that's the reason why we wanted to start the podcast, because we wanted to have real conversations. I think they're all awesome. Like I listen to so many of them. A lot of them, they do sound very polished and like just like really just to the point where I have to take lots of notes. But with our podcast, we wanted to kind of like create an environment and like a open space where we just kind of talked about our own experiences, but have like real conversation.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that, like your focus of hobby to business, because I feel like, especially like our audience, like that's really relevant because a lot of people start using stuff and then they're like, what do I do now? And you're kind of like, should I start an Etsy shop? Should I do this? So I think it's really helpful and really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's such like a magical world. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't know I could sell SVG files, and that was a thing that I started exploring. And I think there's just so many ways that you can put like your art to use, but you just have to like be creative and throw it out there, because if you don't throw it out there, you never know like if people will like it or not and things like that.
Yeah, I like that. And sometimes it's like taking that risk opens up so many other opportunities, kind of like with your book too.
yeah, totally. Aww.
Yeah.
And I think
so check it out if you haven't listened to our podcast.
Oh yeah, I think I'll want to. Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, so I think it's done. So we'll go ahead and see the magic of all of this. So looks like it's done. I like to double check just to be on the safe side, and it looks good. So I'm gonna hit continue on this screen right here and just click unload and just bring my piece over to the very top the table and just to kind of see. I think one thing about this vinyl, it looks like this, oh my gosh, you don't want to see it. This cut right here, it kind of just went out of place. So I'll go ahead and just kind of fix it, because of the fact that we are going to do it like this, I need all the inside pieces. But I'll go ahead and after it's cut, just take off the surface and don't forget to cover your mat again.
Yes, it saves it.
Yep. Okay, so first things first, I'll go ahead and just peel the whole thing off, just because it just makes it easier for me to like see the insides and like the negatives that I need to weed out. Mm-hmm. So this is like the super satisfying part. So, like don't go super fast with this. Just be careful.
It's tempting.
Yeah. Yay! I know there's been multiple times I went so fast and I was like, oh no. Like I think what happens is not like the vinyl will get cut, but what happens like with all these like inner flaps right here, it'll get stuck to the other letters, which will also pull it apart too. And I think that's what's happened to me. Yep. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and just start weeding out the insides. Honestly, I like to peel sometimes all my vinyls. From my experience, I know the paper bends, but it doesn't really ruin the vinyl itself because I'm not making like an actual fold.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and stick it all over me. Do you do this too? Or is it just me?
It's the easiest way to do it sometimes.
I think it's like just like the quickest versus me trying to like, yes, like when I do like my Instagram videos, I'm sticking it on like the side where you don't see it in the view.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and just take off that cut. So with this, I just have to be careful. Basically, when I peel this, sometimes it could be trial and error too, where you have to like maybe cut it again, just because like sometimes, like I make mistakes as well. So I'll go ahead and have that starting point and just start carefully peeling this. So again, the P part is where I have to be careful.
Yeah, that little tiny opening.
I didn't realize how small it was. It was my fault.
Someone says I hand letter and have been nervous to incorporate my Cameo. This is so great and it's giving me confidence.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. What will be your first creation if you want to share?
Yes.
Don't mind me. I have to I can't see like at this distance. I have to like hold it close to me.
Yeah, get up closer. I get
Yeah.
it. I wear contacts.
Yeah, I know. I wear contacts too. Give me 1 second, y'all.
And I love, hand
Oh my
lettering.
gosh, it worked. Sorry.
Oh, that looks awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Oh, I like, it's fun doing like hand lettering because it feels like a tactile thing. And then you can also do it like in a computer.
Yeah.
So kind of get best of both worlds.
No, totally. I agree. So the thing is, I didn't realize how small this P, like the bottom P was too. So like, I just hope that it doesn't get stuck to the transfer tape. Let's just be on the safe side. So with this, now that it's all cut, yay. So what I'll do is I'll get my transfer tape, and basically you have to kind of be mindful of like the surface that you're applying it on. If you notice your transfer tape might be like on the stickier side, I like to like reuse multiple pieces together. So this is transfer tape that I'll be using just because it has like the grid lines and all that fun stuff.
That's a good tip too. If you didn't hear, she reuses transfer tape so it's not as sticky next time.
Yeah, because
then it saves you money.
Yeah, transfer tape, you can use so much of it so quickly. So I'll reuse the same transfer tape as much as I can until I can't do it anymore. So I think this dimension was fine. So with that, I'll go ahead and now kind of just like match around the 3 inches. Okay, so with this, just because I don't want it to be super sticky on this P part, I'm going to go ahead and actually, this might sound so weird. I don't even know people like what they'll think of it, but like I'll take the transfer tape and like I'll put it like on my arm just so that way I can make it less sticky and like so that it picks up some oils, just because I don't want, I guess what I noticed is that with like acrylic, so this is like an acrylic plate that I'll be doing, sometimes it just gets like, it won't stick as well as I was hoping for. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll even like use the same transfer tape to like clean the surface so it picks up any lint so it doesn't have any air bubbles.
Smart.
Hopefully it's not weird. It's just that I don't want it to be like super stuck on the transfer tape itself, and like when it sticks you can't just like untake it off and like try to do it again. It's just kind of have like one shot at it.
Right, especially with those little pieces.
Right. So I'll go ahead and basically just cover my artwork design, and usually I'll have like a thing, like, I mean, you can even use a ruler, like even like using a card, just so that way like you kind of create, there's no air bubbles and you're just like smoothing out everything, so that way it sticks on the transfer tape all at the same time. So then now we'll go ahead and start peeling it off. So I like to help my vinyl so that way like I'm not making the transfer tape do all the work, and I like to kind of like match the the shape of what I'm doing with my hands with the vinyl. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope so. So now with the acrylic, let's go ahead and just place it. The tricky part about it is that if this was so big, I wouldn't be able to like see the edges as well. I was hoping for, but honestly, like there are times that this is not even centered, and I think it's fine. You can use the lines, but sometimes my contact will get blurry on me and I won't see what I'm doing.
It looks set from here so far.
Oh, yay. Thank you. And sorry about the shakiness. Don't mind that.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, so I like to like really just like, I'm probably doing it way too many times, but I've had many experiences where like it didn't fully stick on, so I just like to just rub it a few more times, and I feel like the warmth of your hands makes it stick better too.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good tip.
So then I'll go ahead and now start peeling it. So my tip is that if the surface that you're working on it's not peeling properly, try one angle. Like, so I'll try on the left-hand side first, and if it doesn't work out, start peeling on the other side. Yay. So it looks like it's coming out together, and the piece stayed. Yay. Okay. So there you have it with Hope. Yay.
I love it. The start to finish. It's so fun.
I'm so glad. Oh, thank you so much. I know most of you are still here, so thank you. You guys are so awesome. Okay, so I'll go ahead and now do this one. So just like the exact same thing, still using my same transfer tape. And just sticking it. on there. And this one was a little bit bigger from the first design, and that's the reason why I made my vinyl or my transfer tape cut a little bit larger. Okay, so now with this, I mean, I feel like you can honestly do it this way and it will still look beautiful along with this way as well. This is like a candle holder, so I couldn't find a cup, so that's the reason why it has no like ends. So I think for the candle holder, I'm going to go ahead and just place it this way so you can kind of like see it at full force. So the reason why I wanted to introduce this as well is just because it's like not a flat edge anymore. It's like kind of like a curved surface. I kind of have to like see how the vinyl itself will fit. So I like to just like kind of like map, like I guess like hold it higher so I can see exactly where I want to angle it. Maybe I'll like angle my words a little bit so that way I guess I didn't want to be like super straight, and like I'll kind of like have to like really like think about it and like place it on very gently, but start working at the center point and now like smoothing it out like that.
Do you have any tips that make it different applying to a curved surface?
For the curved surface, I think I use the same idea where I'll start like at the center point and work my way out. But then I guess for this one, I'll try to make sure like my edges are lined up even more before I start applying the pressure this way. Because I feel like with this acrylic, you can just put it on and like if you smooth it out from left to right, it just becomes a lot more like there's not really room to like mess up.
Right.
Yeah. I think with this one, I want to make sure that there's like no bubbles in the letters or they're not overlapping. So I'll make sure that I'm like really like holding the transfer tape like really stretched out so that way the edges itself they're first placed down and then I'll work on my center point.
Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't.
No, it does.
I guess the goal is just so that way you know once you hit the center point mark and you can like smooth it out from left to right, it just there's not room for mistake on this type of like surface here.
Right, for the vinyl to kind of shift and become slanted.
Yeah. Yep. So, okay, let's go ahead and start peeling carefully and seeing how it looks. Yay!
The best feeling.
So fun. Wow. Okay, like I get amazed every time, even when, I mean, I do this so often. Everyone I go, like everything that I place on, I go like, wow, and I show my fiance, look at this, isn't it nice? I know it's the same time. I feel like it's the same reaction every project that I've done. Yeah.
He's like, cool, I love it.
I know. So there you have
incredible.
it. Yay! So I'm glad we were able to do it within the 1 hour. I'm like super happy about that.
And that's a good like you can do it if anyone is wondering. Like it took less than an hour, really.
Yeah.
I think we were talking for a little bit, so it was like 40 minutes.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, when I do like vinyl cut, so oftentimes I'll make these like place cards for my in-person workshops, and I'll do it sometimes even the morning of. It doesn't take as long. I think the thing that takes a long time is that if you just don't weed out all the time, like if you don't like make vinyls all the time, the weeding process might take extra time just because like I noticed it with my fiance. I'll have him like help me sometimes in the mornings and I'll just like peel it off like super fast and he's just like, I don't want to mess it up, so he'll just like yeah. And it's just like different, like the vinyl, like how fast you can work with it. But other than that, I think once you have like the program down itself and everything, it becomes like so much easier and just kind of making sure like like the surfaces that you're working on. So I think one tip that I didn't do actually with this one because I was running out of time and I don't know where I placed it. I normally would like to like get like a cotton ball and like have alcohol and just like clean the surface off because you don't want to stick your vinyl on like an oily surface just because the vinyl might not adhere as much as you're hoping for. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good tip. I like that.
I think that's it. Like that's kind of like what I would do just to make sure that there's no like fibers or there's no like lint like inside of here so that way when it sticks on, it's just not gonna stick on as smooth as you're hoping for.
Right.
Yeah. But
awesome.
I think we're all set.
Yeah, I mean, we loved having you. We'll have to have you again.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love being here, and thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in as well. It was so good just to like connect with you on this level and just, join on like an Instagram. It's super always exciting. Are there, I guess, any questions that you have for me? And then, yeah, I guess, do you have any questions? Feel free to ask them below. And Sarah, if you have questions for me, please do ask me.
Yeah. Is there anything in the works like coming up soon that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I know it's kind of like a weird time.
Yeah, no,
Plans have been changed, probably.
so I think because of like just the time that we're at, there has been a lot of delays happening. So I also license my artwork to like companies and brands and things like that. So I do have some launches that I'll be sharing soon, but I think they're going to happen soon. It's just like that there was like some delays that were happening just like with like the product and shipment and all that stuff. But I'll be launching some new products very soon with some companies that I partnered with.
That's so
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to probably see that is just following your Instagram
Yeah. So
website.
I'll have it like I'll make the announcement on my Instagram feed. I'll also share it in my newsletter if you all wanted to subscribe to that. I'll just like share like tutorials I post on my YouTube channels and ways that we can stay connected. But I've been trying to like fill my newsletters with like more projects so that way people can like work on things on the weekends and just have more fun during this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, we need like some positivity, some
Yeah.
to do. So
Oh no, thank you. And I also do like free coloring pages and prints in my newsletters as well. So you get
fun.
all those goodies to that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, so make sure to follow Letters by Shells. Her book
Aw.
also, I got it on Amazon. Is there somewhere else?
Oh yeah, Amazon works great. Okay, like I found 15 copies when I was moving. So I'll be selling those maybe in about like a week and a half to 2 weeks. But if you just want to get it quicker, Amazon's always cheapest. I can't do the rates that Amazon offers, but Amazon is the cheapest if you just want to get it there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but thank you. I didn't know you had my book. No, thank you. Well, that means a
Yeah.
lot.
I know I need to start doing some of the projects. I started one, so
Oh, yay.
this week.
One thing I wanted to like remind everyone too, when I wrote the book, I also made it for Procreate 4. So now that Procreate 5 is that's like the newest program that's available. So all the changes that were happened, like it doesn't like the same steps work on my book, but the interface changed. So I posted all those like new updates on my YouTube channel. So you can always like follow along with that. If for any reason like a project doesn't match in my book, you can always reach out to me and I'll direct you to like the right resource, but also make sure to check out my YouTube channel just because I make sure to post all like the updates that need to be on there as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Aw.
Yeah, and then your Etsy shop, and then Hobby to Visit. Also,
Yeah.
research.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. I guess like the best page, like the best thing to like see like all my resources and things that I offer is just on my website, lettersbyshells.com, and you'll see like the podcasts on there and all the fun projects that I'm working on too. Yeah.
Awesome. And someone said next time maybe do layered vinyl. So
Oh
we
yeah.
have something we'll have to do.
No, that sounds good. No, I'd love to. It's a really magical process, and I thought it was going to take so much longer. It doesn't. You just got to cut it different times. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Aw.
Well, thanks again for coming up.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Sarah, and like Silhouette for having me. It was so awesome just to connect with you, like face to face, but also see where everyone else is tuning in from. It was like such an honor to be here. So I appreciate you all. And yeah, if you want to chat, send me a DM. I will respond as quickly as I can. But yeah, reach out anytime. Aww.
Okay, well, this will be on IGTV. So if you need to
Sounds
catch anything or rewatch anything, everyone, it'll be there. So
Yeah.
thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye,
Yeah,
everyone.
have a good one.